Okay, dear Venerable Sister, dear Dhamma friends, we have come to the first question and answer session in this Kalalgoda English medium retreat. So today our Mrs. Rajapaksha is waiting to present the questions. So I welcome her. She's like our Visaka. Looking after several monks. So I welcome, and so we'll start with the written questions.
I'm flattered, most venerable Bhante.
Yes.
Bhante, there are altogether 14 questions.
Yeah.
12 on meditation and 2 on Dhamma.
Yeah.
So I'll present the one person has written 2 questions in one sheet.
Mm-hmm.
I'll begin with the first one.
Yes.
Is sitting in full paryanka posture essential for sitting meditation?
Basically, posture is quite important. If you are capable of sitting in full lotus, that is the best posture. But it should not give you any kind of a pain. So if it is painful and if you can't maintain it for a long time, then it is not a suitable posture at the beginning. What you can do is, you can start with some comfortable posture, maybe half lotus. So probably half lotus is much better. It is not that completely crossing like this. Like the full lotus, maybe like something like this, so that the legs are not crossed, but having a sort of a comfortable way. And sometimes people sometimes use that rather than complete crossing, only one leg. That is also possible. So you can select whatever is convenient, and important thing is you should be able to maintain that for a long time, and it should not give any kind of a strain, any kind of a tension. And once you sit, it should not catch your attention immediately. So if your posture is giving too much trouble and it is bothering you while you meditate, so then posture is not supporting. Actually, for beginners, posture is not much supporting because we are not used to sit cross-legged. But as you practice, posture starts to become somewhat seasoned, and your body starts to get used to the posture, and then the bodily support will be available. So therefore, at the beginning, you have to bear a little bit. So you may have to change the posture slightly in order to overcome the different pains. But slowly you are being used to sitting cross-legged. Therefore, you can sit longer without changing the posture. Basically, changing the posture becomes little disturbing for a beginner. So therefore, rather than going for the perfect posture at the very beginning, you can select a comfortable posture in the beginning and start to meditate, start to practice, and slowly start to develop mindfulness and concentration. As you are able to understand some amount of key skills, say mindfulness and concentration, and slowly you can adjust the posture as well. Very much like you are somewhat correcting the posture as well. Say for example, if you are starting with a half lotus or something like what I have explained, I don't know the proper name for that. But as you gain mindfulness and concentration, you can try to make the posture also somewhat perfect. And there are certain other techniques like yoga and some other, say, physical exercises which might be helpful to develop the posture, because it is not merely you are sitting cross-legged helping you to have the balanced posture. If you are doing some exercises, maybe some walking and some yoga exercises and all, they really contribute to have a fairly healthy and fairly balanced posture. Yes.
Question number 2: Why it can concentration fully than the sitting meditation?
So no, I didn't get you. Sorry?
Why it can?
Why it
It
can?
means, yes, that is how it is written. I think what is meant is
That the previous posture.
how can concentration fully fully than the sitting meditation. That is how it somebody has written. Why it can concentration fully than the sitting meditation. I think
what you're asking, maybe the sitting posture may be contributing more to concentration than walking, is it?
I
so
think that
contributing.
Must be
So, I mean, whoever asking the question, am I interpreting it correctly or is it wrong?
Why it can concentration fully than the sitting meditation. That is how the person in one.
I don't know.
One sheet, the person has written two questions. The first one is sitting in full paryanka posture essential for sitting meditation?
May I know who has written it? Can't.
Why it can concentration fully than the sitting meditation?
I'm not getting the question. Yeah. Can you come forward, please?
I mean more than the sitting meditation.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Walking meditation is full. I can concentrate fully. Walking meditation than the sitting. Meditation.
Yeah. So no problem. I mean, basically, concentration-wise, sitting posture helps to go deeper and more refined state than walking, because in walking session we have to do movements intentionally and therefore somewhat disturbing while our eyes are open and the sounds are available, others are walking. So it's very much unlikely that we are going extremely deep concentration levels in walking. But on the other hand, once you are sitting, you have a balanced posture, still posture, and we are not doing intentionally anything, and our eyes are closed. So maybe we are sitting in a fairly silent environment. So therefore there's a high possibility that we be able to concentrate deeply or go for a very refined states. So therefore concentration wise, I feel that the sitting session is much conducive for deeper concentrations. But on the other hand, if you consider the balance in the faculties, in that sense, walking is much better, because in the walking session you have some open environment, spacious kind of a environment, and the breeze is available. Likewise, you are connected very much with the environment. So that is really helping us to release any kind of tension we have, and the balance, somewhat balance happen in the body. So all these things are contributing. Therefore, walking in that sense helps us to discharge any kind of tension or any kind of pent up energy. So that is important. So therefore, these two postures have different benefits. Yes.
Bhante, there are 4 questions here. I will read one by one. Question number 1, how can we relate the meditation in our day-to-day life?
How can we relate meditation into day-to-day life? Yeah. So that is the most important thing. So if we think that the meditation is simply sitting 1 hour and then say another walking 1 hour and that's the end of it, that's the wrong understanding. So slowly we should be able to integrate our practice to our daily activities. So that's why Buddha has mentioned particularly in the Sampajanya Pabba, where each and every daily activity can be incorporated with mindfulness. Say you are walking, you can do that mindfully. You are lying down, you can do that mindfully. Standing, you can do it mindfully. Sitting, you can do it mindfully. Those are the main 4 postures. And then Buddha tells that when you are looking in front, you can do that mindfully. When you are looking sides, you can do that mindfully. When you are stretching your arms, limbs, you can do that mindfully. While you are eating, drinking, you can do that mindfully. When you are wearing clothes, you can do that mindfully. So likewise, he is mentioning so many activities where you can incorporate mindfulness. And last, he has mentioned that even defecation, urination, that also can be done mindfully. So nothing can be exempted. So everything can be contributed for mindfulness. So therefore, we should be skillful to use all these daily mundane activities to develop mindfulness. It is not that we don't have time to practice. Rather, actually, we don't have much, say, intention or kind of a necessity to incorporate mindfulness to these daily activities. That is where we are missing. So we forget to incorporate mindfulness to daily activities. Say in the morning, say we are brushing our teeth. So that actually can be done mindfully. Say we are waking up, so that can be done mindfully. And say we are waiting for a bus. So we can sit rather than simply distracting to various things. We can wait mindfully. So likewise, all the daily activities can be incorporated with mindfulness. So that's how slowly meditation becomes part of your life. And more deeper, more you go towards the vipassana, then say for example mindfulness broadens. It is not that say in the beginning mindfulness is less, the unmindful time is much more. But slowly the opposite happens. Say your mindful period enhances and unmindful period reduces. And ultimately you understand where the pockets available that where you are not mindful. And that is also interesting, where you are filling completely your life with mindfulness. So continuous mindfulness is something that we should target. But on the other hand, and if you are going more deeper in vipassana, then there are stages where mindfulness become effortless. Very much like you come to the home of mindfulness. Yeah, you don't need any kind of an effort to incorporate mindfulness. It's very much like you are the mindfulness. So your mind is completely mindful. You don't need any kind of effort to be really mindful. You are already mindful. Mind is there entirely in the present, not ruminating about the past or future, but rather completely mindful. So that is really beautiful state, where Buddha has mentioned that in Unnaba Brahmana Sutta, where one of the Brahmin come and ask Bhante, what is the refuge for mindfulness? And Buddha says, Satyako Brahmana Vimutti Patisarananti. Brahmin, for mindfulness, Vimutti, the release, kind of a independence, release from defilements or release from any kind of a bondage, grasping. So that is the refuge for mindfulness. So if your mind is capable of maintained in a state where you are not grasping anything, then that means you are utterly mindful. It is effortless mindfulness. Say you are brushing teeth and all these activities, you are forcefully trying to keep mindfulness. You have some kind of a artificial nature there. That is the beginning. But it does not mean that you have to do that whole your life. If you are doing practice continuously and you are improving, you are progressing, then there are stages where you are reaching this kind of effortless mindfulness, where your mind becomes somewhat released. It is not grasping anything, and you can maintain that for a considerable period of time. And at that time, mindfulness is already there. It's an inherent quality. Yes.
Question number 2. In the city meditation, when we experience a pain, is it okay to change the posture? Does it affect the mindfulness?
Yeah, there are several approaches. Say you are a beginner and you are now encountering some pain in your posture. So if you are trying to be mindful about the pain, so that is one approach. So this might be not successful for beginners because still not enough concentration and mindfulness has developed. So therefore, even if you are trying to concentrate your attention on this pain, so your mind may not really appreciate it. You might have a kind of a resentful feeling towards that pain. So therefore, it is much better to slowly change the posture without breaking the developed concentration. So you are continuing mindfulness, and now fair amount of concentration has built. Now there is some pain coming from a leg. So rather than breaking the developed concentration, rather than disturbing that developed concentration, if you can slowly change the posture as a background activity, then the disturbance happen to this developed concentration is very less. So then you are with the change posture, now you have less painful effect or less disturbing posture, and now you can further continue with the practice. So this is one approach. This is much easier. You are keeping your attention with the object, say the primary object, and as a background effect you are changing the posture. And now you are continuing with the activity, continuing with the meditation. The other approach is you are simply, say, suppose this is the primary object. Now there is a pain happen in the leg or hand. Now you need to stretch it. Now you are simply taking your attention to the new place, to the pain, and you are changing the posture slowly, mindfully, and then you are completely aware how the pain reduces, pain disappears. After that happens, again you can bring your attention back to the previous mindfulness object, the Mula Kamatthana. That's another approach. Both are all right. Only thing is, in the second approach, your object change, but it does not harm the mindfulness. Say, for example, mindfulness is available continuously, but object has changed, no harm. So that is one key thing in Vipassana. The object constantly changing and maybe evolving, but still you have continuous mindfulness. So that's available, that is possible, and no harm. Both approaches are available, and you can try both and select whatever is convenient. Yeah.
The third question: in our normal life, we have several responsibilities, home responsibilities, office, a different type of responsibility. If office responsibilities are overloaded, is it okay to reject them? Or do we have to take it and prioritize our tasks and work accordingly?
Yeah, you can resign. That's the easiest task. But even the resigned thing, as a monk, now I have so many things. Monks are so busy these days. So we are leaving the lay life, asking for freedom. So the monk's life becomes slowly overloaded. So we have to find the balance. So if you are thinking that having less responsibilities will lead you to have so many, fair amount of progress in your practice, so it can or cannot be a proper perception, correct perception. So there are people who don't have any responsibility, but they are not practicing. And there are people who have a lot of responsibilities. They are somehow finding their time and they practice as well. So it is the chanda. It is the that is the urgency. It is the real need that you have in your mind. That is what we are being driven. Actually, even yesterday when I went to Lanka Vipassana, so I found that there are people who come after their working hours to practice, and before they are going home, they spend some time at Lanka Vipassana, they do some practice, and then they go home. So likewise, people, even they are working hard, they somehow try to find some time for their practice. So we should be skillful to find different possibilities how to practice, where to practice. So it is not that we have to leave aside all the responsibilities and then start to practice. So while having so many responsibilities, how I can continue my practice. And slowly actually we have to be capable how to even maintain responsibilities without taking much of a tension. That is the difficult task actually. So how we get tensed and how we can even handle that responsibility without getting tensed. So these we have to practically experience and find our own solutions. So say for example, I can hold this very strongly and I can get tensed. I can hold it very softly and I am getting the purpose. I can watch the time. So how I hold it, how I handle it is a kind of an attitude that I am having. So if I am having some sort of a responsibility and I am continuously rejecting it, struggling it, resenting it, then definitely I will get tensed. But if I am understanding, okay, it is kind of a karma, or it is kind of a cause and effect, or it is I am the only person to handle it at the moment, can't help, you can't escape. So likewise, if you recognize that, so then you somehow handle it. So therefore, it's very difficult to tell yes or no answer. So there are certain times that you have to somehow skip the responsibilities without taking too many. And there are certain other times that you have to take the responsibility. Because actually the people who are practicing mindfulness can take responsibilities. It is not that you can't take responsibilities. Definitely you can take responsibilities. More than the people who are not practicing. Whoever is practicing mindfulness can definitely handle big risks, can handle various difficult tasks. Because they are very alert. They are living in the present moment. Wholeheartedly they do the activity. So that is one task, one quality mentioned about the Arahant. So they are not grasping, but whatever the task allocated to them, they do it 100%. They do it wholeheartedly. So these are certain qualities that we have to develop. For that to develop, we need to get some sort of an activity. So you can't simply neglect all the activities. Rather, you have to handle it and see how I can handle it without getting much tensed. So practically, we have to handle it and see. Yeah.
Bhante, may I put in a word?
Yes. One word.
More than one word. My experience. I have put in 38 years of the public sector.
Yeah.
And held three very responsible posts simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And my former boss is here. She knows very well.
Yes.
That
She was not doing well, no?
Good. No, it is time management. Time management is very important. And organizational ability. And building up a beautiful team spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And we were a very good team. And did a lot of work. As you say, to this person, I would like to say that it is not good to reject your responsibilities, but to handle them.
Handle and see, actually. Handle and see. Now, if you are taking two, because thing is, sometimes we think that we may be sometimes underestimating our skills. Sometimes we may be overestimating. So that also can happen. So sometimes it is difficult to understand whether I am really capable of doing it or whether I am not capable. So there are certain people who always underestimate themselves. And there are the other side also available who overestimate themselves. I mean, they take too many things which they can't handle. But as practitioners, sometimes we are getting the real sort of the value. Not overestimation, not underestimation, but we slowly understand ourselves, slowly understand our weaknesses, slowly understand our strengths. So we understand, okay, these activities I can handle, these activities I am poor, I can't handle. So on such situation, we are understanding what are my pros and what are cons, what are my skills, what are my weaknesses. So accordingly, I can select the given tasks. So it's very much like understanding ourselves honestly. Yeah.
Fourth question, can a person who meditates regularly forget anything during day-to-day work?
Yeah, it can happen. I mean, you don't need to meditate for that. For any person, the forgetting happen. So you don't need to consider it as a bad side effect of meditation. But on the other hand, there are some transitional periods that you might encounter that some sort of a say forgetful areas can happen. So it's only for a temporary period. Don't think that's for a long period. But particularly in Vipassana, say when you are going some certain areas, so there are certain transitional periods in your practice. So till you completely establish on the next stage, there are certain kind of vague stages. On such situations, there may be some forgetful moments. But they are not permanent. I mean, with continuous practice, then you will be you will be properly established in the new state, next state, and you are well established there. Now you are completely recovered. Completely now you are comfortable. And on such situation, more and more you are comfortable, more and more your memory will increase. So that is what Buddha has mentioned, one of the key benefit of mindfulness, Chira katampi, chira bhasitampi, sarita, anusarita. Certain activities that you have done long time ago, certain things that you have said long time ago, you can remember easily, like you did it on yesterday, something like that. So that is a skill that we are developing with mindfulness. So therefore, one key benefit through mindfulness practice is the develop memory. It does not happen within one day, but therefore, in the long run, you have a good memory, and there may be still short terms that you have some fluctuations.
Venerable Swamin Wahanse, Theruvan Saranai, when I do sitting meditation, after some time I feel a pain in my body, and that really disturbs my mindfulness. Swamin Wahanse, please advise me how I can overcome this problem. May you attain Nibbana.
Sorry, can you repeat? The pain in the body.
When I do sitting meditation, after some time I feel a pain in my body, and that really disturbs my mindfulness. Swamin Wahanse, please advise me how I can overcome this problem.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, if you are sitting for 1 hour and then you are experiencing this pain, it is very natural. Then you can change the posture and you can go to a walking session. So basically you have reached the maximum. Suppose if you are getting this pain within 10 minutes, so that means the original posture is not properly adjusted. Because it is you couldn't afford it for even 10 minutes. That means you have to adjust your posture at the very beginning, before the beginning of your session. So that's why I said in the very beginning of this discussion, so having a very comfortable symmetric posture is one primary thing. So you can spend couple of minutes even to adjust yourself to have a very balanced posture, very comfortable posture, and then you can start. Then you can go at least for 20 minutes, 30 minutes like that. And as I said, so more you practice, more you sit in the same posture for long period, in the sense, I mean, for say 1 year, 2 year like that, so then it becomes very natural. So you can comfortably sit for long period of time. Say before 2 years, suppose you could only sit in a half lotus posture only for 15 minutes. But another say 6 months, now you can comfortably sit there for 30 minutes. Another 6 months, now you can sit there comfortably without changing the posture for 45 minutes. Say after 2 years, you can sit there comfortably without the pain for 1 hour. So like that, it is naturally your body get adjusted. So don't get discouraged thinking that this body is not supporting you, every time the pain is available. And there are stages, especially in Vedananupassana, this pain becomes a good resource for your practice. So therefore you can look at in that angle as well. So when there is a pain available, and if you are fully with it, if you are fully understanding it, feeling it, that indicates that you are not living in the past or you are not living in the future. That indicates you are fully present. That's why you are now capable of understanding the pain. Now you can use this pain for your practice. That is the Vedananupassana. So therefore, pain is not always a kind of a bad effect or a drawback. Rather, it can be a good resource for your practice.
Venerable Swamin Wahanse, Please advise how to overcome sleepiness during sitting meditation. Thero Saranai.
Sleepiness. So one thing is, you need to understand during which period of day that you feel more sleepy. Say for example, for me, if I sit in the morning, mostly I feel sleepy, early morning. But that also change. Sometimes I am fully energetic, can handle it. But sometimes drowsy. But again, say for example, if you are sitting just after your meal, again mostly it is drowsy, sleepy. But say again, so you use that effectively for walking meditation. Such period you are using it for walking meditation, and during the evening time, you are using for sitting. So then sleepiness is very unlikely. Mostly you will be successful. You can overcome sleepiness. So likewise, you need to find out throughout the day where you feel more sleepy and where you feel more awake. And accordingly, you have to adjust your timetable. Where you feel more sleepy, you can put walking. And where you feel more alive, more wakeful, on such situation, on such periods, you can use for sitting. And on the other hand, for beginners, even the success of meditation appears like sleepy, like boring. Because if you are used to multitasking and now you are trying to watch your breath, so it is a very boring activity. So you easily fall asleep. It's a very natural thing. So typically, therefore, in retreats, so first couple of days, many people fall asleep. It's very natural. But slowly, when you get used to this very neutral object, you are able to maintain some amount of mindfulness. Then as we are going on to 4th day, 5th day, 6th day, now you are catching up. Now sleepiness is no more there. Now you are awake. So therefore, it is not a bad thing, it's a natural. You can't immediately overcome this. So it will naturally, you will be able to naturally overcome it, slowly overcome that. And there are other antidotes, like you are drinking some tea, coffee before you are sitting and doing some exercises, or you are sitting in a fairly illuminated environment, not in a gloomy environment, or you are sitting outside in a garden. So likewise, there are other aspects as well. So don't sit in a entirely covered, gloomy environment. Your meditation will be, in a way, sometimes lead to even harmful states. Might lead to certain concentration, but you may get into even harmful states. So we should never get into such kind of a gloomy state, gloomy environment to practice. Rather, if it is somewhat natural, open with the environment, then it is much better. Nature, that is much better. At the beginning, you feel like it is disturbing. You feel like you are going to go to a kind of a vacuum, kind of a chamber. No sound, no smell, no sights, in a kind of a vacuum. That is the ideal that we think, but it is not. So we have to go for some natural environment, so that is the best. And it appears like difficult at the beginning, like a challenge in the beginning, but slowly you will embrace environment. You will embrace nature. Then there is no much difference. So you are becoming a part of the nature. Yeah.
Venerable Bhante, I am able to observe the breath thinning out and becoming not existent. And like you advised, I do not tend to forcibly breathe in and out thereafter. However,
can you repeat that statement?
I am able to observe the breath thinning out and becoming non-existent.
Yes.
And like you advised, I do not tend to forcefully breathe in and out there afterwards.
Right.
However, where do I go from here? Then it continues.
Yes. No, we'll go one by one. So this is the progress in a way. So at the beginning, we can't even notice the breath. Now you start to notice the breath. So what we start is very much like the gross breath. That is the very much, if you consider breath is like kind of a bell curve, where you have the middle part, that is the gross part. Intensity is very high. That is the part that we start to feel. But slowly we will be able to even notice the soft beginning, subtle beginning. So the next stage of your practice could be where you are trying to focus your attention to the very point where the breath is touching, and trying to find out the beginning of the breath. See how it is gently beginning, and how the intensity increases, how the feeling increases, and it reaches some sort of a threshold, and then it starts to diminish and ultimately disappear. Where you are trying to catch the complete breath, complete cycle of the breath. So that can be another stage. Sabbakaya patisangvedi asa sisamiti sikkati. Buddha explains that you are trying to figure out the complete cycle of breath. In breath, complete cycle, and then the out breath, complete cycle. And there could be even a little gap in between these two. And even that you can recognize. So as a result of that, so your mind becomes more calmer, and you are able to focus more accurately. And the mindfulness further improved. And now breath becomes subtler and subtler. So challenge is, without falling asleep, are you able to maintain your attention even in this subtle breath? So these are the challenges. So you have to practically do that. Assume that you are successful, then even with a very subtle breath, you can maintain your mindfulness. It's very much like unnoticeable. Almost no breath. But you are very alert. You are keeping your attention at the nostril. Assume that now breath has gone, disappeared. Still suppose you are able to maintain your attention at the nostril. So that is the beginning, very much like the beginning of the concentration. In a way, sort of some refined concentration, where very refined object is available, and you are still maintaining your attention at that very refined object. And mind is stable, not wavering, not sleeping, very awake, and you are able to maintain that. And sometimes again breath appears, again you notice it, again it disappears, again you notice it. Even without the breath, you are able to maintain your attention at the nostril. So these are different aspects that we can understand. And now, depending on the skill that you are maintaining at this stage, you can even lead to the samatha states, or you can even lead to the vipassana states. So, say for example, if you are able to maintain your attention continuously at this place for long period of time, without noticing the different characteristics, without noticing, then there could be even kind of a sign appear, kind of a light appear. So there you are leading to higher concentrations, to the samatha direction. On the other hand, say you are now in a refined state, now you are able to recognize the subtle differences of the breath. Say one is longer, another is shorter, one is warmer, another is cooler, or maybe it is not a single breath, but there are series of breaths. So like that, your mindfulness become very refined. So you are able to understand these little characteristics. So now you are leading towards the elements side, where the dhatu manasikara side. So likewise, without forcing yourself either to any direction, you can stay there in a comfortable manner and see how mind prefers it, how mind is trying to find its path. Yeah.
Second part of the question. Also, due to a few personal problems, my mind tends to wander a lot now. It could be minutes before I drag it back to the present. How can I do it more efficiently?
Yeah, I think the best thing is to go for a walk. During walking session, there are so many thoughts may come up, but you have some control where you are having some gross feeling at your feet. When your toes are touching or when your foot is touching, there's a gross feeling. So there may be various thoughts coming out. More than those thoughts, these gross feelings are more predominant. more effectful. So you can therefore use this gross feeling to divert your attention to this, the gross feeling. So slowly these various thoughts will reduce their strength, and slowly your attention will completely shifted to shifted to this feeling at the soles, feeling at the toes, so at your foot. So then you will be able to overcome these thoughts. So this is the easiest task, because if there are so many thoughts, going for sitting might be difficult, because it's too refined. But if you are going for a walk and slowly, gradually you are trying to trying to take your attention to your foot, so that is much practical, and you will be more successful. It will take time, by the way. It is not that you are forcefully immediately taking your attention to the foot. Rather, you understand there are many thoughts going on. Now sometimes I am completely taken by them, but again I am coming back. At that time I am keeping my attention on the foot, and slowly you are maximizing the time that you are being with the foot, that sensation, and then you'll be completely able to get rid of various thoughts and come back to 100% to the foot. Yeah.
Part of the question, also in walking meditation, do I observe the feelings and perceptions now that I am able to concentrate on it?
It actually depends. At the beginning, you should not try to look at mind at the beginning, because if you don't have enough mindfulness established, so trying to observe mind is somewhat not successful. But there are stages, and as you develop mindfulness, even though you are walking, you are looking at the mind. So it's naturally you can get into this stage. So it depends on where you are. So if you have very established mindfulness, now you are, even while sitting, you are simply observe your mind, and then even in walking you can do the same thing without keeping your attention on the foot. You can actually observe the mind even though you are walking. Yeah.
Venerable Bhante, walking meditation. When I do the walking meditation, concentrating on my feet touching the ground, when I see leaves falling from the trees, my attention goes there, and at the same time I realize it's as anicca. Bhante, please advise me how to keep my concentration at one direction without going out.
No, I think the opposite. So actually you can use this sign really to understand some insights. Really to understand something, rather than trying to, you can completely discard all these various other activities and completely be with this touching sensation or left and right. But while you are being there, suppose you are now completely with left and right with a very quiet mind, and at that time suppose there's a leaf fallen, and if you understood that it's a kind of impermanence, it's a good thing. Why not? Why are you rejecting that experience? So your attention is now drifted to a leaf, and you understood maybe deeply that there's a kind of impermanence to all these activities, all these phenomena, and you understood that. Again you can come back to your experience, because while observing your foot, ultimately you are leading to such kind of an insight. Now it has given free of charge. It's a matter of understanding that, or it's a matter of using that experience in a positive way. So it does not mean that we have to be in a stereotype way, that we have to 100% be with this object. May be true only at the beginning, but slowly your mindfulness broadens. So now you are open to the whole environment, and still you are practicing, and then various activities are happening. So this can be the blinks, these can be the kind of instances where your mind becomes open. Like the Newton. So Newton was simply sitting under a tree and very mindful. Then an apple fallen to his head. Then he understood, okay, this is the gravity. So likewise, so you can find out some kind of a scientific formula.
I think it has to come naturally rather than thinking forcefully.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why, I mean, when
Come
your mind is
naturally.
well balanced and it's a very quiet, and then you are doing your walking, and naturally leaf is falling. It's not that you are breaking a leaf and putting. Naturally, there may be certain things happening, and you are using that chance, using that activity in a positive way to improve your practice. No harm. Actually, there are many such events have happened during the Buddha's time also. Say, for example, Venerable Patachara, and she was coming as a nun. She was coming from, I think, Pindapata, and she has now she wants to get into her kuti, to her dwelling place, and she has poured some water to her feet to wash it. And now this water has gone to some extent and it is being absorbed. And then she is putting some more water, and then that water has gone some more distance and again absorbed. And she put some more water, that water is going too far and then get absorbed. And she put that simile to our life. So she understood, okay, some people die at early stages. Some people die in the middle stage, and some people die at their last stages. So likewise, this life is completely impermanent, uncertain. So it becomes an insight for her, and she became an arahant. So it is not that the typical stereotyped kind of practice that always giving us the benefit. So there are Mula Kamatahana and all these rising and falling and all these that typical in the book practice. That's also available. It's also available. That's also fruitful. But there are these different insights available for you. So if you are properly tuning to them, so those are beneficial. Those are giving us the kind of instances to pop up, instances to wake up. Those are really interesting. And there are certain other things, I think, this Chullapantaka. So Chullapantaka was given simply a cloth, a very, pure cloth, white cloth, and he is simply rubbing that. It is not a kamathan available in the book, no. So, but that becomes his practice. That becomes his avenue to insights to arise. Yes.
Next question. I noted my breathing in and breathing out, but as I do so, I start breathing through my nose, breaking the natural breathing process. How do I focus on the breathing while breathing normally?
Yeah, this forceful breathing can happen. So it's sometimes it's difficult to overcome at the beginning. So, but slowly you will understand the proper balance. So you yourself will understand how tense that forceful breathing is. It's difficult. You can't practice longer time. So likewise, you are the one, you need to recognize what is the real balance, what is the exact amount, optimum amount of energy that you need to put in this practice. And at the beginning, we are trying too hard, so the forceful breathing can happen. So it's very natural. So these are experiences that you are going through. And then slowly you will understand, okay, I don't need to do that so hard. I can allow the body to breathe naturally. So you are coming to this balance. So getting to this proper balance is some sort of a skill. So you have to practically come to that. So you yourself will be successful with time. So it is not that I can give you, this is the kind of the amount. that you need to find out practically, okay, this is too much, this is too less, okay, this is in between, there is some sort of a comfortable region where body is also breathing naturally. I am also not distracted. I am also with the breath. So likewise, you practically have to find it out. So don't worry, you will be successful with time.
Second part of the question, how can someone maintain continuous concentration?
Continuous concentration is not a proper word. Maybe continuous mindfulness may be a proper word. So it is not expected to have a concentration as such. Say you are concentrated only to a particular place or in a particular, say, breathing, for example. Continuously you are maintaining your attention on breathing, concentration wise. So it is not very much practical. But on the other hand, mindfulness you can actually practice continuously. Various activities are there throughout your life. Each and every activity you are using to develop mindfulness, as we discussed in the very beginning. So that is possible. Yeah.
Question number 14. Most Venerable Bhante, when it comes to Anapanasati, I am able to sustain my mindfulness where the breath becomes non-existent. This has become quite easy now, although it was a gradual process. However, I do not know how to do Chitta Anupassana. Please advise on this. Much respect and gratitude.
Yeah. Now say you are able to maintain this stage for a considerable period of time. At that time, suppose there may be kind of a tingling effect or some kind of a little pain appearing, some kind of feeling coming up. So that means you better take that object as your next stage, not the Chitta Anupassana. So go with the natural effect, not that you are trying to manipulate your practice. Rather, say you are maintaining your attention at the nostril and now it is very refined breath. It almost has disappeared and you are maintaining that for 10 minutes, 15 minutes like that. Now assume there's a kind of a feeling arising. Then use that feeling and that's easy path. Assume there is no such feeling for long period of time and now there are certain thoughts coming up. Okay, mind starts to distract or going for a different thought. Now you can slowly take your attention to the breath, to the mind. So likewise, going immediately for Chitta Anupassana is not recommended. So better you go through some Kaya Anupassana and then maybe to Vedana Anupassana. And as you develop, slowly you will be automatically, very much naturally, you start to look at your mind. So then it becomes very natural, rather than kind of a forcefully that you are trying to practice. Yeah.
Bhante, these are more on Dhamma questions. Venerable Swamin Wahanse, in the Satara Satipatthana, what is the difference between Chitta and Dhamma? Please clarify. Thero Ansarana.
Yeah. So there's actually this example actually I have heard from Sayadaw U Jyotika, one of the prominent meditation teacher in Burma. So he is giving a very beautiful example. Suppose you have different cups and different say drinks are available there. In one cup there's a tea, another cup there's a milk, another cup orange, in another cup coffee, like that different things are there. So simply by looking at them you can recognize. This is very much like Chitta Anupassana. Or even you can simply taste one of each and every one and you can immediately recognize, okay, this is a tea, this is a milk, this is coffee, this is orange. Very easy. Now on the other hand, now suppose you are taking the say tea. At that time you recognize it is too much tea and less sugar. Another one, say you are picking orange. So it is less sugar and too much orange. Say you are taking milk, not enough milk, too much water. That you are now going fairly refined detail of that individual cup. So it's very much like Dhammanupassana. So you are going to some refined states of your mind. You are able to understand some subtle differences, subtle stages of your mind. say there's a lust coming and you understand, okay, this is the beginning of the lust. And now it is increasing. And I am not supporting, I am simply recognizing it. Now it is disappearing. But on the other hand, in Chittanupassana, you are not capable of such analysis. You simply recognize, okay, there is lust, that's all. You don't know whether it is in the beginning stage or the middle or the passing away stage. But in the Dhammanupassana section, you are able to recognize even this beginning, the middle, and the ending. And now there may be a state where there is no lust, like that. And not only that, when you are going deeper to Dhammanupassana, like when your mind is grasping, you can recognize. Okay, that grasping may be towards something visible, or something to kind of a sound, or some kind of a smell. So like that you will be able to understand, okay, now mind has gone and it has seen some sort of a scene. Accordingly, some sort of a defilement arisen. Some kind of an attachment has happened. So likewise, more refined manner, you are able to understand the operation of the mind. So that is where more towards the Dhammanupassana. Chittanupassana level, still we are not capable of doing such. Yeah.
Venerable Bhante, this is the last question. Most Venerable Bhante, I have heard there are some categories of Nirvana. Example, Sopadisesa, Nirupadisesa. Can you please explain those varieties of Nirvana and how it is achieved? Or does it depend on the human nature, or depend on the paramita or kusala or something else?
No, according to the Dhamma, actually when someone, a practitioner, becomes an arahant, so he touches this sopadisesa, nibbana, where still upadi is available. He is not grasping, but the past merit has given him the body and the various these five, what you call the aggregates, and they are available. So that's sopadisesa. And the anupadisesa is where during his passing away, completely passing away, he is coming to the complete cessation, where the anupadisesa, there is no remainder at all. So there's a beautiful simile Most Venerable Katukurunde Jnananda Bhante is giving. Say there was a is that whirlpool. Say there's a whirlpool, and now assume that there are various different parts are being absorbed to that, and there's a big activity going on in that whirlpool. And after a while, suppose it has stopped, and still that you can recognize something is there. There is no whirlpool right now, but there are certain residues that taken or absorbed towards that center is available there in the surface of the water. Say different leaves, there may be different breaking parts and all these things, and you can recognize, okay, there was a whirlpool there, and you can recognize that. So that is very much like an arahant, where, we say typical worldlings, putajjana is like a whirlpool. Continuously the activities are there. Continuously the activities are there. Continuous defilements are available. Still more motion. But when someone becomes an arahant, the complete peace is there. But still the remainders, it is not the defilements, but the body. There are aggregates available. Like the whirlpool which has completely stopped, but the remainders, residues are still visible. Assume, say, after a long time, all these things have scattered. Now you can't find whirlpool where it was. That is complete cessation, where he has passed away. Now nothing. Very much like that. So in the Sopadisesa, therefore Buddha says that when one reaches the complete, that's the complete cessation of the defilements. But the body remains. He still continue to live. He still eat, he still walk. The typical activities are continued, but no defilements. That's the sopatisesa. Anupatisesa is he even discards the body and he is completely attained. No more. Yeah. So these are the two sides Buddha has mentioned. Two types of Nibbana. We can say the two stages of Nibbana, where one experiences Nibbana while living. That is the sopatisesa. Complete cessation in the defilements. Tanhakkaya. Complete cessation of craving. But at the passing away, he get into the final stage. Yeah. So anything else? So
written questions are over.
Yeah, written questions are over. Now if you have anything to contribute, or if you need to clarify something or need to add something, we have a few minutes. Everything solved. Good. Okay, then we'll stop then here. We'll have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. Thank you very much for participation.